Throughout our life, we're told that we're special and unique, especially when you're still a kid. You could call it a way to boost our self-confidence, even though most of us are average. And that's totally okay. It just means that those who are truly unique can stand out in a big way. Here are 10 real kids who are 1 in a million. Before we formally introduce you to some amazing kids, make your video watching experience a 1 in a million experience by subscribing to our channel. Click on the red subscribe button to make that magic happen. If you want to know the moment that we upload a new video, then click on the gray bell to turn on those notifications. Luciana Wulkan. How would you feel if day by day you were losing your ability to move? Luciana Wulkan's condition is so rare that she isn't just 1 in a million, she's 1 in 2 million. Her muscles are gradually hardening up, and you could say she's turning into a real-life statue. When Luciana was just 2.5 years old, she was diagnosed with fibrodysplasia ossificans progressiva. As of late, she can only use her left hand as her right hand has fused. When she was younger and playing on the playground, she had to be careful not to get hit and fall, or else it would be an extremely painful experience resulting in the hardening of more muscles. But what makes Luciana really stand out above the rest is her attitude. She has a pretty devastating prognosis that could send anyone into a deep depression and a void of negative thinking. But Luciana doesn't let her condition affect her normal life. She still maintains a social life, and she is striving to earn her degree so she can get a job. You could say this teen is one of the most inspirational kids around. Angus Palmes. We've heard about kids who act a lot older than their age, like they have the mind of an adult trapped in a kid's body. But in the case of Angus Palmes, he stopped growing when he was just 3 years old. Today, he's 13 years old and still has the body of a toddler. How can this be? Well, Angus actually has scientists stumped. His condition is so rare that it doesn't even have a name yet. All doctors know for sure is that it's a chromosome abnormality. His parents believe that Angus might be the only person in the world with his condition, which would make him 1 in 7.5 billion if this is actually true. Angus can't walk or talk, but he's able to communicate by pointing his index finger and thumb along with grunting. His mother, Tandy, has accepted that her son will always be dependent on her, and that it will all work out. Some people have said that he's almost like a real-life Benjamin Button. Annabelle Whitehouse. When Annabelle Whitehouse was just 5 years old, she was thrown into the media spotlight after her story went public. She has a skin condition known as ichthyosis, where her skin sheds about 14 times per day. Some people have even compared it to being a snake that has to shed its skin. The average human sheds skin every 25 to 45 days, which makes Annabelle's situation very unique. She is bandaged up and has a special cream applied to her 4 times a day. Despite dealing with this condition, Annabelle still enjoys life. When she was little, she was doing things like any normal kid would do, such as horseback riding and ballet. She even inspired her family to get involved in activism and support groups for those who live with ichthyosis. Her father even won a massive donation for an ichthyosis support group. It all goes to show that a little drop in the water can turn into a huge ripple that makes a positive change for those around it. In this case, Annabelle has certainly made a big splash. Isaac Hughes. Could you imagine living through life without being able to show your emotions? And no, we're not talking about those who have had so much plastic surgery done that they can't move their faces. In the case of Isaac Hughes, he was born with a condition called Mobius syndrome, which is a form of facial paralysis. His situation is so unique that there wasn't a test for it at the time when Isaac was first diagnosed. He had a hard time eating when he was a baby and also had low muscle tone when he was born. Isaac struggles with moving his eyes from side to side, and he needs assistance when he's trying to move. As you might have figured out, Isaac also struggles with communication. While he can't talk or show emotion like the rest of us, he has become really creative in communicating. Isaac will mime or use a sign. His friends and family have also regarded him as an extremely intelligent boy who doesn't have his hand held throughout life. His parents stress that if you can't understand him, tell him and he figures out a way to get his message across. Even though his situation is rough, he always finds time to make fun of people and laugh. Kaylee Halko. What do you do when it feels like someone hit the fast forward button on your lifespan? You can either let it defeat you, or you can pick yourself up and live life the best you can. When most teenage girls are worrying about school, makeup, crushes, and having a social life, Kaylee Halko is dealing with a completely different set of problems. She's just trying to survive and dealing with people who see her for the first time. She was born with a rapid aging condition known as progeria, which is often fatal. But despite looking 8 times older than her actual age, she's living her life and living better than most of us. She has gathered a faithful fan base thanks to the app musical.ly, where she posts short video clips of her lip syncing in her bathroom. She also has a faithful Instagram following of over 227,000 people. Considering that those with progeria often don't make it past the age of 14, Kaylee is certainly pushing through. Her Instagram is full of glimpses of her adventures, and she continues to inspire people all over the world. Let's take a break with a quiz. Sometimes kids can be better business people than adults. What is the name of the Toddlers and Tiaras alum who launched her own clothing and jewelry line at just 6 years old? While you ponder that, let's get back to our own business. Fayez Ahmed Parra. Most of the kids you're going to meet in this video were either born with their condition or developed it when they were a baby. But sometimes, one of the most difficult trials to conquer is when you're living a regular life one moment and then everything changes in an instant. When Fayez Ahmed Parra was 4 years old, he was playing cricket with his older sister when disaster struck. He and his sister Simran found an unexploded shell and didn't know what it was, so they used it as a ball to play cricket. When Fayez hit the shell with his cricket bat, it ended up shattering both of his legs. The explosion also took the life of his sister. His legs were amputated from the knee down, and he spent about 3 months in the hospital. Despite dealing with tragedy, Fayez still dreams about becoming a cricket player. Today, he's wearing prosthetics and even moves around well without wearing them. He has a ways to go before he's old enough for the big leagues, but he's not letting the darkness take over. Juliana Wetmore. Juliana Wetmore is known as the girl born without a face. Just 1 year after her birth, it seemed that her story went viral and everyone took an interest in Juliana's condition. She was born with a condition called Treacher-Collins syndrome, and she's missing up to 40% of the bones in her face. Over the course of her young life, she has had 45 surgeries before she was 12 years old. All of these surgeries have been to construct and develop a face so that Juliana can do simple things like eat and even smile. Juliana learned sign language, and she has a hearing aid to help her understand the world around her. She attends school and even tries to talk, though she may not always be understood. When asked, Juliana says that she is very satisfied with her looks and she doesn't want any more surgeries. However, she may get a few more surgeries to make her cheeks a bit more average, as well as modifications to help her eat better. Juliana's parents were also inspired to adopt a girl who has the same condition, and now she has a sister named Danica, who's from an orphanage in the Ukraine. Sometimes even the smallest thing can inspire others to do good. Ramses Sanguino. From the time he was 4 years old, Ramses Sanguino was able to solve complex equations and speak several different languages. He was speaking Japanese by the time he was 2 and could speak Russian by the time he was 13 months. He was solving algebra problems at the age of 5. What's up with this awesome kid? Well, Ramses was diagnosed with autism, and according to his mother, he also shows signs of being telepathic, meaning he can read minds and transmit his thoughts. Of course, the latter is being investigated. In one of his videos, Ramses can be seen reading his mother's mind as he recites a set of numbers that his mom wrote out in secret. But skepticism aside, we can't deny that Ramses' accomplishments are nothing short of impressive. Researchers at Johns Hopkins University have taken a special interest in Ramses and have been conducting a series of tests on him to see if they can figure out what makes this kid tick. Considering it takes most adults months or even years to figure out basic algebra and learn a few words in another language, Ramses is truly one in a million with his brilliant intellect. Sophie Greene. One of the first things you'll notice about Sophie Greene is that she has a contagious smile. She was adopted from China when she was just 2 years old by a family from the United States. Her oldest sister, Lexi, was adopted with her, and Lexi is blind. What makes Sophie truly special is not only the fact that she was born without arms, but she figured out how to use her feet as hands. She enjoys painting, drawing, writing, riding a bike, and other activities, all the while using her feet with the same fine motor skills you would need if you were using your hands. Sophie also enjoys doing ballet, and she seldom complains about her disability. Her parents realized that she was special when they tried feeding her an ice cream cone, but she snatched it up with her feet and started eating. She helps Lexi get around, and she is also there for her other adopted siblings. Did we mention that Sophie is one of 10 adopted children in her family? Her parents certainly have their hands full, as all of the children are disabled. Sophie's family is inspired by her, and she has shown that she's determined to make it through life with little to no issues. Ever Audette. As you get older and your list of responsibilities grow, it seems that there's never enough time in the day to get stuff done. We often joke about the need for a little bit of extra sleep per night for the sake of being more productive. And when you're a kid, your parents count on you falling asleep eventually. But in the case of Ever Audette, she only sleeps about 90 minutes per night and doesn't need any more than that. She was born with a condition called Angelman syndrome, which has no cure. Another symptom of her condition is that she's always happy and full of energy. The one downside is that she won't be able to speak, but is learning how to communicate as she gets older. Ever is also not completely aware of her limitations, and yet she always manages to have a smile on her face. Her parents have also taken on an active role in researching Angelman syndrome and unlocking the answers to its mysteries. What is the name of the Toddlers and Tiaras alum who launched her own clothing and jewelry line at just 6 years old? That would be Isabella Barrett. After launching her designer line, she became a multi-millionaire. These kids sure are one in a million, aren't they? Tell us in the comments which one was your favorite, and be sure to give this video a like. Before you go, take a moment to make sure you're subscribed to our channel, and if you have some extra time, check out these other videos from our channel. Thank you so much for watching, and hey, we'll see you next time.